Day 118. Day 118. Is it our love for black folks or our dislike for white folks? That's what the topic is about. I'm gonna play this video. um, Here we go.
This past weekend, people were highly upset about Shador Sanders getting drafted in the fifth round. A lot of posts about it, a lot of think pieces, a whole bunch of stuff about it, right? But I want to shed light on something else. The fact that Cam Ward went number one to the Tennessee Titans, and the full circle moment on how the Tennessee Titans took a black quarterback, right? If we want to talk about celebrating blackness, the Tennessee Titans took a black quarterback, and how Cam Ward went to this franchise, and that's the same franchise that had Warren Moon. If you know the story about Warren Moon, you understand why that's so significant. So how come we didn't even see a tenth of Cam Ward celebrations to the amount of Shador Sanders outrage? How come we didn't see a tenth of it? And I think I'm exaggerating saying that not a tenth. The reason why is we only celebrate certain people. Cam Ward, his story, his background fits the perfect narrative of what we call black excellence, right? Cam Ward, two black parents in the home. Cam Ward has a black girlfriend. I know that's a big story when it comes to these posts about these NFL athletes. Cam Ward went number one. He was sought out. People really wanted him. So much so that the Giants tried to trade up and the Titans refused to budge on the number one pick to get Cam Ward. But why that story is not being even posted a tenth as much as Shador Sanders? I'm going to say this. Shout out to the Cam Wards of the world, the not right kind of black people, I guess, that don't get celebrated. Shout out to the black people who do the right thing that's not getting celebrated because you're not the right kind of black that's being celebrated. So,
all right. So my take is a little different from what we just listened to, but I am going to read just a few of the comments before I get into my take because it is kind of important. Excuse me 1 second. My fault, yeah. All right. So here we go. This is an easy answer. We celebrated Cam Ward. He went first. It was the NFL that distracted. I guess distracted us, but they distracted because they made a spectacle about refusing to take him in the first round. In the first couple of rounds, everybody celebrated Cam Ward. So a lot of people think it's a conspiracy that the NFL had decided to say, you know what, we collectively, all 32 teams said we're not going to take Shador. I don't believe that's the case. Once again, I am rooting for Shador. I was hoping he was going to go to the Giants, and I think he's nice. But I still speak objectively. That's just how I am, regardless. So he continue to read this comment. He was the first pick of the draft. We cheered, we screamed and yelled for that young brother. The NFL made this a distraction for the Cam Wards and the Shador Sanders of the draft. We celebrated both of them. Both of them have strong black fathers. Okay. There's nobody to blame but Shador's team. All right, I'm just kind of breezing through it. How is it Sanders' fault? The media created this not black America. Okay. So one, if you made it this far, I appreciate you watching. We're gonna get into some real shit right here and share this. If you disagree, that's cool too. So one, I don't think the NFL was collectively saying we're not going to draft him, because one of the things about the NFL is they don't really care about what some others think. They just want to win. GM's jobs is on the line. So if he was that nice, if he was a bona fide, like if he was like Caleb Williams was number one draft pick last year. He was number one black quarterback, obviously, but it was undeniable that he was going to be the number one draft pick. He was just that nice. You see, they was thinking he was going to be the next Patrick Mahomes. So if Shador was as nice as Caleb, then it would have been none of this would have happened. What I think is part of it is a lot of NFL teams didn't need a quarterback. Now, I will say this: the Browns taking the quarterback they took before Shador, that's bogus. You see what I'm saying? But I don't think it's a whole NFL wide conspiracy. A lot of NFL teams just didn't need quarterbacks. But I will say this: as far as the Cam Ward thing, people didn't celebrate him. They were so focused on Shador. They say that the NFL distracted us. The NFL didn't distract anybody. It's your choice when Cam Ward went first. It's your choice to go crazy on the internet and celebrating. Yeah, Cam, yeah, another black quarterback has made it 2 years in a row, and not focus on the Shador portion of it. The NFL didn't make you only talk about that Shador. They didn't, because they talked about it, but it wasn't that they forced you to talk about it. You chose to talk about it. And what it is this. This is the take that a lot of people is going to be, a lot of people probably haven't even thought about it this way. And then some people are going to disagree just because emotionally they just want to disagree, right? The level of dislike that people have is more than the love they have for their own people. In our community as Black folks, we don't love each other enough, but we dislike the other group. And a lot of it is, if this happened to Shador, this is why it's happening to me. I can't get further in life because, the white man is holding me back. And to an extent, that is somewhat true. Racism, systemic racism is a thing, and it is holding a lot of Black people back. But that's not the end all be all. So at the end of the day, you can't just look at that. That is a big portion of it, a huge portion of it. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not one of those Black folks that's going to pardon white folks for what they've done. But our love for each other is even shown in everyday life, in our music, and how we interact on social media, how we don't praise each other enough. It shows. Now, some of that is programming. Let's keep it a buck. I hate when people try to act like, it hasn't been a lot of programming. This is why I started my affirmation videos. The first one I started was a Black affirmations one, is because I want to reprogram the subconscious for our people. You feel what I'm saying? That's why I started it. But so a lot of it is programming. But at the end of the day, the dislike we have is strong. The dislike for white folks is stronger than the love we have for our own. So we can't get any further, because instead of focusing on the Cam and the Caleb Williams, and so the first two picks were Black quarterbacks, and Jayden Daniels and Caleb Williams being number one, and Jayden Daniels, and then we follow it up by another year of another Black quarterback being number one, and a Black quarterback just won last year and the 2 previous years before. Lamar Jackson won MVP multiple times. You know what I mean? So the whole, is there still some racism going on in the league? Yes. That's without a doubt. It's still going to be racism. We can't get rid of racism regardless. It's not going to happen. You know what I mean? It's just not going to happen. But at the end of the day, we need to stop focusing so much on what we're not getting and focus in on what we are getting and what we are doing and accomplishing. Not getting as in like a handout, but what we're accomplishing. So this kid accomplished being the number 1 draft pick, and he came from like I said, a 2-parent household in the video, but he wasn't even highly recruited coming out of high school. And this man was able to work his way up. We need to celebrate that and not focus on the fact that Shador didn't go. We're so focused on whether he's humble or or it's a conspiracy or this or that, you know what I mean? And we just kind of forgot about Cam. Let's only focus on Cam. right? Because at the end of the day, there are white quarterbacks that also was kind of cocky and brash, and they lost, some of their draft status as well. Not as bad as this one. So maybe that's when the extra racism may come into it. But at the end of the day, Shador, though I think he's real nice, and I wish the Giants would have got him, he's not a bona fide number one like Caleb Williams was. And then he was acting like he was a bona fide number one. And yes, there is a video out there saying it doesn't matter if he go first, second, or third. He says that, but he says first, second, or third pick because he think he's still a top 3 pick. He didn't know he was gonna slide to the 5th round. I'm sure he would have been speaking different if they would even asked him. So what if you slide to the 5th round? He probably would have laughed like, I'm not sliding to the 5th round. His own pop said, yo, I might have to control some of this. You know what I mean? I don't want him going to this team. So that's setting him up, and then him not participating in the combine and all of these different things. It's just not a good look, especially when you're not a bona fide number one. Sometimes you got to play the game just a little bit. It is what it is. But the main focus of this is not about him. It's about, we got to identify that our dislike is stronger for the other race than our love for our own race. And until we identify that, until we start acting like we love our own race more than we dislike the other, we're never going to progress because we have so much of our energy being poured into all the negativity coming from other races. Sometimes it's not even as much as you think it is. Sometimes some of that negativity that we think is coming is just in our head. Some of it. I'm not excluding it all, but sometimes we will create narratives in our head that's worse than what it actually is because our dislike for the white race versus our love for our own. So we just brushed past the fact that Cam Ward was number one, and that's another number one quarterback 2 years in a row. You know what I mean? And we're so focused on Shador. Shador gonna be okay. Let's celebrate Cam Ward big time and focus more on Cam Ward, as the person was saying in this video. But yeah, we gotta do a better job. If you focus on the negativity, only more negative energy will come towards you. That's it. That's what the affirmations is. That's, changing your subconscious. That's why I created, like I said, I created my affirmations video is to focus on the good things. When you say affirmations, you don't say, I will not do A, B, and C anymore, because you will be focusing on the negative instead of focusing on the positive. You say, I am such and such. You know what I mean? Like I will not be unfocused. No, you say, I am focused, because you focus on the negative. That's what you want to be concerned with. You want to speak that into you, not speak the opposite. You see what I'm saying? So let's love ourselves more than we dislike other races. That's the only way we're gonna progress. Till next time, peace. Watch the video again from the beginning if you missed what I was talking about. Peace.